I'd like to start this void episode with a pretty simple extract from my little journal. Okay, whatever. Okay, wait, stop. I'd like to start this void episode with a little extract from something that I wrote a few days ago. I ate gum, chewed it all, and then swallowed. It took me a long time to swallow. I chewed another before I could swallow. I prayed before I could swallow. I didn't understand what I was saying. It was jumbled and messy, but then I swallowed and followed it up with sour sweets. It took me 2 hours to chew, only a few minutes to decide to swallow, and a second to follow it up with sweets. The prayer was there, somewhere. I broke my fast, right? I couldn't take it. In a way, I was rebelling. No, I was rebelling. I was scared, but after I felt nothing. Just there. I wanted more. My stomach turned a tinge of pain from hunger. It was 6 minutes past 2, 4 hours and 11 minutes till officially breaking time. But I needed to defy, decided for myself, and chose to do my own thing. There was power behind the seed, and that power was all I had. You could say it was not something worthy of respect, but I needed it. To realize that to break free, I would need the courage to lie, to plan, and to execute. And here, I decided that I was too hungry, too betrayed, and too caged to not eat. It wasn't just about food, but also about money, safety, and vulnerability. I was sawing the chains off so I could begin to plan and execute, and understood that the religious guilt laid within me. But I've always seen myself as an individual. I've always decided that the world was too vast to be put down. So this shouldn't hurt. It won't hurt. I'll be fine. In fact, I'll thrive. This time I live for me and me alone. The title of this void episode is My Religion Equals Unidentified. And this extract came from about a week ago when fasting was going on. And by the time this video is uploaded, it would have been at least about a week since Eid. This entire month of fasting, specifically Ramadan as a whole, was not only eye opening but also completely and utterly shocking. I remember, or I've always thought of Ramadan as a pretty happy period for me and my family because it was probably one of the, or really is one of the times where we truly come together as a family and we really just see a lot more of each other and there is unity and celebration and so on and so forth. But for some reason, this specific Ramadan just did not go that way. And to be honest with you, as an individual, I do not or have never really been someone to be connected with religion, to understand religion, or to really think of religion as something concrete and solid. I put religion or my participation with religion up to the people that I was around and the experience I wish to have with them. So for me, obviously, Ramadan was, of course, about family and being with my family. So when I fasted to simply gain a connection with them. And when people celebrated that or when people cheered me on like it was something special, I always just didn't really feel anything towards it as much as it was simply getting to be more connected with my family, of course. So when this specific Ramadan did not only become such a difficult time, but also something that just became painful and just hard to continue with. It wasn't even about the hunger. It was just so it was just so unsatisfying. The prayers became long, the waking up early was becoming exhausting, and more so it felt like just nothing. And in the end, family time didn't even wasn't even that great. And I always know that I've always known that my family's religious identity has always been scattered. It is scattered. My mother is Christian, my father is Muslim, and of course, this creates a household where there's a lot happening all at the same time. On top of that, religion is very inconsistent, as is many things in my household. We don't have traditions or routines or habits like all other households or many other stable households do. It's always up and down and here and there and this and that, and it's everywhere. Sometimes, like in Ramadan, we'd fast and go to the mosque for a month. My mother would suddenly become a religious zealot, and she'd suddenly be the preacher of all preachers and all these things that she'd say, and things that would irk me, like her saying that people or women shouldn't be dressing like that during such a month, and they're making it harder for the men, and and then they wonder why they get raped. So of course my mother's kind of a rape apologist. That happened this month, or that happened this Ramadan. So of course that was a very interesting thing to see or hear. And well, other than that, in other months you won't even talk about religion or be around religion. So, well, this this has been such an such an uninteresting time. Trying to, or saying, or dealing with the emotions of pain and hatred at the religion itself was interesting, to the point where I quite literally began to dread everything, like just everything that had to do with the religion. And it wasn't it was it wasn't it wasn't all that serious. It was just very personal. Like I was alone within it. I couldn't tell anybody, I couldn't say anything. I just had to sit there and just be like, hey, this was it. I just had to continue. The praise meant nothing because this wasn't even anything I cared about. And it was quite obvious I'd always done this for my parents' approval, and that was it. That was quite literally it. So as the month ends and we wear a corner where this will probably no longer be mentioned, I return back to my simplicities of never praying, not praying. I never even prayed really during the month. And I return back to the very simple statement that continues on within. I'm not a religious person. I will probably never really be a religious person. And that labels do not make sense. So this is insane, because this is where we actually talk about what I want to talk about. All right. So when I say my religion equals unidentified, I mean unidentified as in not that not that I am an atheist, but rather I am simply point blank unidentified. In that way, from many of the experiences I've had as a kid and living in a mixed household, I've always seen religion as a life path with pre-made rules, meaning that when you embarked on the journey of religion, whichever you took up, you were taking up pre-made rules that would make life easier. Because of course you wouldn't have to make up your own set of morals and values if you had a book that already told you what to do, a set of lists and stories that act as examples, and essentially a community that would continue to be around you. When you were religious, you kind of had everything set up for you in a way that you already had a mindset to think about. As in, if this and this is happening, this is a sign from my God, or this is a sign from this, or this is a punishment, or this, or this is that, or this is leading me this way and that way, and all of this. It made life easier. That was the way I saw religion before anybody ever told me that, hey, religion is this and this and this, and it is salvation and all this and all that. So the idea of afterlife, the idea of sins, the idea of religion as a whole, therefore, without any influence from anything else, was again just another way for humanity to be able to make sense of the very confusing, very, very difficult life experience that we all go through. So religion was a way for people to cope with that. That's the way I saw religion as a child. And that's the way I see religion now. I know I have very high emotional intelligence, or I'd like to think so. So Now, getting on to this, I was somebody that always liked to make my own rules. Like I said, I see myself as an individual. Therefore, any of the acts I made against Islam or made against the fasting rules, as bad as I felt, because I will not lie, I am a very sheltered kid. But as bad as I felt, it was still freeing. I'm one of those kids that seem to have such a messy time at home and during high school and during those days where there's everything just feels like a mess while they're trying to appeal to their own personal morals or appeal to their ever shifting personal morals while also trying to adhere to their parents. However, when they grow up, they just seem to just flourish in a way when they finally find their rhythm. That's the way I see it, and that's the path I'm trying to follow. So when it came to religion, religion felt like something that was downpouring or was really hindering me from that. It wasn't ever something that was like, oh, I think I believe in Jesus, or I think I believe in Allah, or I think I believe in Buddha or many of the other religions. It was more so, I just, I know what you're talking about. I understand the stories. I understand the logic. I just don't agree or I just don't get it. I just can convince myself that the reason why I'm suffering is because I'm learning a lesson given to me by a deity that wishes to try and help. I never believe that everything that happens because this deity is leading me down a path. Rather, I kind of believe that, hey, everything happens in life to happen in life, and that every journey is ever shifting, and therefore, whatever you encounter always may or may not have something to do with the outcome. But think of it as a story, or more so a mystery, where everything is being gathered, all to be revealed at the end, and looked back upon, where everything now suddenly makes sense. It's very simple. It's not it's not an atheist point of view in my own opinion. I've never been able to label myself in that way. I've never been able to say, yes, I'm an atheist. Sometimes it was the easiest thing to say, yeah, I'm an atheist. But the particular label of, oh, I just did not believe in religion at all was, well, it fit, but not exactly. It was the shoes that you told yourself you would grow into. That little gap in between your leg and the back of the shoe where you knew that, hey, it wasn't exactly right, but it was fine. Yeah, calling myself an atheist was fine. However, when it came more to thinking about what that meant to me, being an atheist, it didn't, again, feel right. So while I would say I do not believe in any religion, I would also like to say that doesn't mean I denounce religion completely. I see religion, again, as a mindset, not a complete state of being or the 10 different afterlives that we all get to choose. I just saw it as a mindset. Whether or not we would be going to the Christians' version of hell or heaven, or the Muslims' version of hell or heaven, did not matter to me. What mattered was more so the life that I lived and fulfilling a purpose that I defined for myself. Therefore, religion hindered me in a way that it felt like it was trying to tell me what to do, tell me what to feel, and tell me what purpose was most important. And the point was, that's when it started to infringe on my boundaries, and that's when I got mad. That's when I got upset. That's when I decided that no, um, that's not working. That's not happening. That's just give space. From a distant point of view, I find myself enjoying religion as a concept. In my way, like I said, viewing it as a mindset allowed me to be able to explore and see and enjoy many of the mindsets that other people had. It was a way of understanding people easiest when you couldn't from other points of views. It was easier to understand a person through their religion than it was to understand them as a person, because then you would have to look into their own personal morals and values and understand the nuances. And even if there are some similarities, you would have to pick out the little differences that seem to almost quite literally completely change the story, right? So religion was therefore helpful. And then, even more so, I found myself I would not want to say respecting or being more respectful, but more so appreciating religions that had a lot to do with culture. Very ancient religions, or religions that have to do with certain cultural groups, like the Yorubas. The Yorubas are an ethnic group in Nigeria, and the Yorubas have a specific religion. The religion ties in very well to the culture, the festivals, and so on. And in those ways, religions of that nature always interested me, and I always appreciated them more because they had stories them, stories that connected to their people, stories that talked of their history, stories, music, dressing, why am I even saying dressing, clothing and slash fashion and food, it all just connected so well. The religion just wasn't a mindset that could be swiped across multiple people and could be used as a way to go through life, but it was kind of embedded within the culture in a way that it added to its legends, and not just legends, but it added to its stories of its people and was a way of understanding its people rather than a way of simply understanding life. In those ways, religions were actually a mindset, not just a lifestyle, but a mindset. And it it was always a lot more free forming. And I always appreciate those religions a lot more. I always enjoyed those religions a lot more. I always was very interested in them. When I mentioned Buddha or Hinduism, Hinduism has got to be the most interesting religion, or mainstay religions that I've always really wanted to delve into. Not as somebody looking to find salvation, but as somebody looking to understand a culture. And I think in those ways, religion is important and religion is a big part of life. So when I say that I'm an atheist, I mean so in a way that is, yes, I don't really believe in religion. But no, that does not mean I try to not engage with it. I engage with it, I learn about it, I'm interested in it, and in some ways I might participate. It is not something that irks me to do so, but it does infringe, or when it starts to infringe on my own personal boundaries, that is when I get a little distant. So this Ramadan was uneventful. This Ramadan was disappointing. And now I have to unfortunately add Islam into my list of religions that have very, very bad memories associated with them. Because when it comes to memories, I do love to associate things with memories, and those memories really just affect how I see such things. That doesn't mean it stops me from giving a justified, what can I say? Justified point of view, or justified does not mean it stops me from being justified when it comes to talking, oh wait, giving justified proper evidence on the religion. It just stops me from really being able to interact with it without thinking about those memories. The other one on the list is Christianity. Funnily enough, they're both my parents' religion, and it's both the household I live in. And it's been funny kind of living in a house that doesn't take it really seriously and isn't all that consistent, but sometimes is, and then sometimes is really serious. And just kind of existing and trying to find my own ways to safely and properly just be me without having to, well, change. So, my own thoughts on this is that religion is interesting. Religion is wonderful. Religion is not something, religion, like all things in life, can be something that is used to oppress people, can be something that is used to make others suffer. But like all things in this world, it can also be something used to uplift people, understand people, learn about people and their history and who they are and their mindsets and their thoughts. So therefore, religion is important in the very idea that it being important is about it adding value to our lives and to people's lives, and not just where the hell we're going in the afterlife, even though that's still interesting too. So, yep, That is Void episode 2, My Religion Unidentified. And the thing I love about this is being able to speak out my emotions without thinking or wishing for anybody else to hear me, listen, or anything. It's going to the void. It may stay there forever, but I said my piece, and that's all that matters.